All right, so today we are going to take a deep dive into something I know a lot of you struggle with out there on the golf course,
Oh, yeah.
and that is the dreaded slice.
Ugh, I know the feeling.
You've sent in a bunch of great articles about this, and we're
Yeah.
going to break down why it happens and,
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully, and most importantly, how you can start hitting those straight shots you've been dreaming of.
Exactly. Straight and long.
Straight and long, that's the goal.
That's the dream.
Most of the articles we have focus on right-handed golfers.
Right.
So we'll be looking at it from that perspective
Makes sense.
for this deep dive.
All right. Sounds good.
So,
Why should we start?
Well, I think it's interesting because it's not just like, oh, I sliced the ball.
Oh, yeah. Definitely
It's
not.
very more
It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Right.
Figuring out your specific slice is like the key to fixing it.
So we need to get a little more specific.
Exactly.
Than just, I slice.
The articles we have talk about two main types of slices that right-handed golfers usually have.
Okay. So the first one is the pull slice.
Okay.
And this one starts left of the target,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it goes way right. Like
Yeah.
it's trying to get off the course completely.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And then there's the other one,
Mm.
the push slice.
Okay.
And this one starts to the right of the target
Yeah,
and then curves even more to the right, almost like hitting it sideways.
I see.
So thinking about your typical slice,
Yeah.
which one of these sounds more like what you experience?
That's a good question for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Think about it for a sec.
All right, so once you've figured out what type of slice you have,
Yeah.
where do we go from there?
That's the big question.
Yeah, so that's where we get into what causes these swing flaws.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's start with the push slice.
All right, push slice.
The main culprit here is something called a reverse pivot.
Okay, reverse pivot.
Yeah.
That sounds scary.
It's not too bad once you understand it.
Well, let's try to understand it then.
So imagine this. On your backswing, instead of shifting your weight to your back foot, you lean toward your front foot.
Okay.
And then as you start your downswing,
Yeah.
you shift your weight back onto your heels.
So it's the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. It's like the reverse
Huh.
of what should be happening.
So you're already setting yourself up
Pretty much.
to hit it sideways.
Yeah, the reverse pivot really throws off your balance
I could see that.
and makes it almost impossible to hit the ball square.
Right. And there's more to it, right?
Yeah, it's not just the weight transfer.
Okay.
It changes how the club face hits the ball, too.
So how does that work?
Well, when you have a reverse pivot,
Yeah.
you're basically hitting the ball with an open club face.
And that causes the slice.
Yeah, it's a big reason why the ball slices.
Got it.
So we've covered the push slice.
Right.
Now, what about the pull slice?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Pull slices usually happen because of two things: excessive sway and improper transition sequencing.
Whoa. Those are some big words.
We can break those down
Please.
because they're important to understand.
Okay, so excessive sway.
Yeah.
Does that mean swaying your body too much?
Yeah, basically it means you're moving your body too much side to side
Okay,
instead of rotating around your spine.
got it.
So it's like you're rocking back and forth instead of like coiling and uncoiling.
Okay, I can see how that would,
Mess things up,
yeah, throw things off.
throw off your balance and swing path for sure.
But what about improper transition sequencing?
Yes, that's a bit more technical.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Basically, it's the order of your movements
Okay.
as you go from your backswing to your downswing.
Mm-hmm.
If that sequence is off,
Oh.
you might end up flipping your wrists to try and catch up to the ball.
So the timing of everything is
Yeah.
just as important as the movements themselves.
Exactly. It's like a dance.
Oh, I like that.
If one part of your body is out of sync with the other parts,
Yeah.
the whole routine is messed up.
It falls apart. So I imagine that improper sequencing makes it tough to hit the ball consistently.
Absolutely. And almost impossible to hit it straight.
Right. Well, one of the articles had a really good description of what happens with a pull slice.
Oh, yeah. What did it say?
It said, imagine needing to make a huge sway towards the target to try and save the shot.
Oh, yeah.
That forces your hands to do things they shouldn't.
Oof. I
Have
can
you-
picture it.
It sounds desperate.
It usually doesn't end well.
I bet not.
Which is why it's so important to understand what's happening in your swing.
Yeah, get that knowledge.
And luckily, we have technology that can help with that.
You're talking about 3D swing analysis.
Bingo.
Okay, so these tools can really...
They're game changers
Wow.
for understanding swing flaws.
So tell me more about that, because I know you had some really interesting examples of how these tools can help.
So one of the articles talked about a golfer
Okay.
who had a reverse pivot.
Mm-hmm. And they used 3D analysis.
And it showed that during his backswing, his chest actually moved closer to the target while his pelvis moved away.
Whoa.
So it created that imbalance
Wow.
that forces the reverse pivot.
So it's like having X-ray vision into your swing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
It takes out the guessing.
Right.
You know exactly what's wrong.
So it's the first step to fixing it.
And it's not just about finding the problem.
Okay.
It can also help you track your progress
Oh, that's cool.
as you work on your swing.
All right, so tell me more about that. How can 3D analysis actually help me get better?
So these tools can track all sorts of things in your swing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they give you numbers that can really help you see what's going on.
Okay, that sounds useful.
The article mentioned 3 specific things you can track.
Okay.
Sway gap,
Sway gap? Okay.
chest sway, and pelvis sway.
Pelvis sway. Okay, those are some interesting names.
They are, and they're super helpful for fixing slices.
Well, break them down for me. What do they actually measure?
Basically, they're all about how much your body is moving side to side during your swing.
Okay, so swaying.
Exactly. Chest sway and pelvis sway literally measure how much your chest and pelvis move.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then sway gap measures the difference between the two.
I see.
So it tells you how well your upper and lower body are working together.
Oh, that's cool.
The goal is to keep these numbers as small as possible.
So less sway is better.
Yeah, pretty much. It means you're more stable.
So instead of just hoping I'm getting better,
Right.
I can actually see the numbers
You got it.
improving.
It's like having proof that you're on the right track.
Okay, I like that. Now I'm curious about how to actually fix these problems.
Yeah, let's get into that.
So let's start with the push slice again.
Okay.
You said the reverse pivot is the main thing to work on there.
It usually is.
So how do I fix that?
The first thing is to make sure your weight is going in the right direction
Okay.
during your swing.
So no more leaning towards the front foot on the backswing.
Right? Instead, you want to really load up your weight onto your back foot.
So like I'm coiling up to unleash some power.
Exactly. Like you're winding up a spring.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then when you start your downswing,
Yeah.
you basically want to uncoil that spring.
Oh, I see.
Shift your weight towards the target and hit through the ball.
So it's not just about swinging with my arms.
Nope.
It's my whole body working together.
That's the key to a good swing.
Okay, so what about the pull slice?
All right, so for the pull slice, we need to tackle both the excessive sway and that improper transition sequencing.
Right. Those two big problems.
So for the sway, it's all about being more aware of what your body's doing
Okay.
during your swing.
So like feel it out.
Yeah, try to keep your upper body more stable,
So I shouldn't be swaying all over the place?
not all over the place.
Okay.
It's not about eliminating movement completely.
Right.
You still need to move a little bit to generate power,
Okay.
but it should be controlled,
Gotcha.
and it should be in sync with your rotation.
I think I understand that. And what about the transition sequencing?
Ah, yes. That's where it gets a bit trickier.
Okay, I'm ready.
The key here is to start your downswing with your lower body,
Okay.
not your upper body.
Interesting. So I shouldn't be leading with my arms and shoulders.
Right. It should be your hips and legs that get things moving.
They pull my upper body through.
Exactly.
Okay, but how do I actually do that?
Well, it takes practice,
Of course.
but once you get the feeling, it's like everything just clicks.
And that's where those 3D tools come in, right?
Yeah, they can show you if you're actually doing what you think you're doing.
So I can see if I'm making progress.
Exactly.
And you also mentioned something earlier about comparing your swing to the pros.
Oh, yeah, the tour range feature.
Right. Tell me more about that.
So some of these 3D analysis systems let you look at how the pros swing,
Oh, wow.
and you can compare your swing to theirs.
I bet that's really helpful.
It is. You can see how they stay so stable and controlled.
I'm guessing they don't have much sway.
Not at all.
Interesting. What else can I learn from watching them?
You can see how their weight shifts,
Uh-huh.
how their hips rotate, and how their arms and wrists work together.
So it's like seeing a perfect swing in action.
Yeah, it can be really inspiring.
And educational.
Exactly.
Now, I know there was one more thing in the article is about fixing slices.
Oh, yeah.
Something about a drill I could do at home.
You're talking about the towel drill.
That's the one. Tell me more.
Well, it deserves its own explanation.
Okay.
We'll save that for the next part.
All right, you've got me hooked. I can't wait to hear about this towel drill. Okay, so we're back, and I'm ready to learn all about this towel drill.
You're going to love it.
I hope so, because my slice is killing me out
Now,
there.
this should help.
Okay, tell me everything.
It's really simple, actually.
Okay.
You just need a towel
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and your golf club.
Got it.
So you put the towel under your heels
Okay.
and take your normal stance.
All right, I'm standing on the towel.
Now, here's the important part. As you take your backswing, you really want to focus on keeping your weight on your heels,
Okay.
like you're pushing down into that towel.
So really feeling that weight shift
Exactly.
onto the back foot.
It's all about training your body to make that proper weight shift.
Which helps with both the reverse pivot and the sway.
Right. It's like a 2-for-1.
I like it.
The towel gives you that extra feedback.
Yeah, I can feel it already.
And then when you start your downswing,
yeah.
you push off the ground with your back foot
Okay.
and transfer your weight towards the target.
And that's where the power comes from.
You got it.
What if I lift my heels off the towel during the backswing?
That's a good question.
I feel like I might do that.
Well, the towel actually helps you catch that.
Oh, really?
If your heels come off the towel, you know you're not doing it right.
So it's like a built-in warning system.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
can instantly feel if you're making that mistake,
And then I can adjust.
and you can adjust.
That's so smart.
It's a simple drill,
Yeah.
but it works.
Now, what about those 3D metrics we talked about?
Ah, yes. Sway, gap chest sway, and all that.
Will this drill help with those too?
Definitely. As you practice the towel drill and get better at your weight transfer, you should see those numbers start to improve.
So I can actually track my progress.
You got it. You can see if your sway is decreasing.
And hopefully it is.
Hopefully it is.
This has been awesome. I feel like I've learned so much about slicing and how to actually fix it.
I'm glad to hear that.
Is there anything else from those articles that you think is really important?
You know, one thing that really stood out to me was that it takes time
To fix a slice.
to fix a slice.
Be patient.
Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight. You
Yeah.
need to be patient and persistent.
It's a journey.
Exactly.
I know I get impatient sometimes on the course.
I think we all do.
But you're right. I need to remember that it takes time to retrain my muscles and ingrain those new movements.
And don't forget to have fun along the way.
That's important too.
Yeah.
So to all our listeners out there who are struggling with a slice, just remember, you're not alone.
We've all been there.
And with what we've talked about today and a little bit of practice, you can start hitting those straight shots you've always wanted.
I believe it.
And even if you do slice one into the woods,
It happens.
at least you'll know why.
And that's got to count for something, right?
It definitely does. Knowledge is power.
Even on the golf course.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fun.
Until next time, happy golfing.
Happy golfing.